Snow drifted across the airfield, hiding the scars of yesterday's bombardment. I wiped the frost from my goggles and stared at my yak, one fighter. Its skin was patched with metal from 3 different planes, but it still stood like a loyal dog waiting for its master. Comrade Petrov. The mechanic's voice cut through the wind. Fuel's low. Enough for 1 sortie. 1 is all I need, I told him, though my stomach twisted at the lie. Above us, the clouds were bruised purple, heavy with snow and smoke. The front line was just 10 kilometers east, close enough that the earth sometimes trembled beneath our boots. I climbed into the cockpit. The seat was stiff with cold, the controls biting my gloved hands. When the engine coughed to life, it sounded like an old man gasping for air. The radio crackled. Falcon 1, you are cleared for takeoff. My wingman Misha was already on the strip. His plane's nose gleamed red in the half-light, a foolish bit of pride he'd painted last night. For luck, he said. We both knew luck had run out weeks ago. The wheels lifted from the ground, and the city of Stalingrad appeared on the horizon, black smoke twisting into the gray sky like ghostly fingers. Fires still burned where the Germans had struck the fuel depots. From above, it looked like the world was bleeding through the snow. Falcon 2 report, I said into the radio. I see them, Misha answered. 3 Heinkels heading north. Altitude 2000. We banked east. The sun broke through the clouds for a moment, lighting the river below like a blade of silver. My heart pounded as I saw the German bombers, 3 dark crosses crawling across the sky. Remember the signal, I said. Understood. We dove. The wind howled through the cockpit. The world shrank to vibration, metal and fear. I pressed the trigger, tracers streaked forward, red sparks cutting through the air. 1 bomber caught fire, spiraling downward in slow motion. The others turned west, engines screaming. Then Misha's voice, they're behind me. 2 Messerschmitts. I jerked my plane around, searching. There, flashes of sunlight off metal wings. Misha's yak trailed smoke, wobbling as bullets tore through his tail. Misha, brake right. I can't, controls jammed. His voice vanished in a burst of static. I saw his plane drop through the clouds, a single streak of fire descending toward the white earth below. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The sky was too vast, too quiet. Then the radio hissed again. Falcon 1, return to base. Do you copy? But I didn't answer. I turned toward the smoke, still rising from the frozen fields. Somewhere below, my friend was gone. And for the first time that winter, I wasn't afraid to die, only afraid to forget him. I circled once above the wreck. The snow had swallowed everything. No smoke, no flame, just a faint dark scar across the ice. Misha was gone. The radio was silent except for the soft crackle of static, like distant rain. Falcon 1, report position, command repeated. Still airborne, I said finally. My voice didn't sound like mine. I banked north, low over the Volga. The river was frozen solid, a white artery cutting through the dead city. Below, columns of men moved like insects, hauling supplies across the ice. Others, those who couldn't, lay still in the open, frozen where they'd fallen. At the far end of the bridge, artillery thundered. The Germans were close, closer than we'd thought. I spotted a plume of smoke ahead. A lone tank burning on the plain. Beside it, soldiers in gray uniforms moved cautiously, rifles glinting. They didn't see me yet. I rolled my yak onto its side and dove. The machine guns chattered, stitching black earth around them. Men scattered. One raised his weapon, a pointless gesture against the sky. I pulled up hard, the G-forces crushing my chest. For an instant, I thought of Misha, his red-nosed yak tumbling through clouds, and I fired again, longer this time. The snow around the Germans erupted. Then it was over. Just the engine's growl and the sound of my heartbeat. Fuel warning light blinked red. I turned west, heading home. The city came into view, or what was left of it. Stalingrad no longer had streets, only trenches, ruins, and smoke. I could still make out the control tower, its top half blown away. Falcon 1 approaching. Prepare for landing, I called. No answer. Only static. As I descended, I saw why. The airfield was in chaos. Trucks burning, medics running, men shouting orders that no one followed. A fresh bombing raid must have hit while I was gone. I touched down hard, skidding across the half-frozen strip. The yak coughed, sputtered, and died. I climbed out, the air thick with smoke and diesel. Petrov, someone shouted. It was Sergeant Kirov, his face black with soot. You're the only one back. The rest didn't make it. He didn't need to tell me who he meant. I nodded and walked past him, past the burning fuel drums, until I reached the hangar. Misha's locker was there, half open. Inside was his flight scarf, white, still clean. I took it and wrapped it around my wrist. Outside, the sun had already vanished behind the clouds. Somewhere above that gray ceiling, the enemy still ruled the sky. And tomorrow, I'd go back up again. The night before my next flight, I couldn't sleep. The barracks were silent, except for the slow breathing of the men who were still alive. Every bunk felt half empty, as if ghosts occupied the other halves. Outside, the wind moaned through the hangars, like the voices of the fallen. I sat by the window, watching the snow drift past the searchlights. My gloves were stiff with oil, my hands shaking. Not from fear, at least, not only fear, but from exhaustion so deep it felt carved into my bones. Petrov, a voice whispered. It was Kirov. He stepped inside, carrying a tin mug of something steaming. Can't sleep again. I shook my head. He handed me the cup. A drink. Engine oil and lies, but it'll keep you warm. We laughed softly. It was the only way to stay human. He sat beside me, eyes following the snow. You know, command says reinforcements are coming. Fresh pilots, new planes. Command says a lot of things, I replied. He smiled faintly. You'll be up again tomorrow. Yes. He nodded once. Then I'll make sure your bird is ready. When dawn came, it arrived without color. Just pale light over white ruin. My yak waited outside, patched again overnight by Kirov's crew. Someone had painted a small red star beneath the cockpit, Misha's mark. I climbed in and touched the metal where his name had once been stenciled on his plane. Let's see if we can keep you company today, old friend. The engine roared to life, and for a moment it felt like the war had paused. The airfield receded behind me, the city unfolded ahead like a wound that would never heal. Falcon 1, altitude 1,500. Heading east. The clouds were low, swallowing the horizon. I scanned the gray emptiness until movement flickered below, columns of German armor pushing through the snow toward the river. The front was shifting again. Then I saw them, tiny black dots breaking through the mist. Fighters. A dozen at least. Control, I have visual contact. Multiple enemy planes, Vector 045. Static answered. Repeat, I have contact. No reply. The sky filled with engines. I turned hard left, the yak groaning. The first burst of cannon fire ripped past my wing, close enough that I could feel the air shudder. I rolled, dived, came up behind one, fired. The tracer rounds found their mark, and the Messerschmitt exploded into flame. But there were too many. One bullet shattered the canopy glass, slicing across my cheek. Another tore through the fuselage behind me. Smoke filled the cockpit. I leveled out, gasping. Below, the Volga glimmered through the haze. I was losing altitude fast. Then, through the crackling radio, a voice broke through, faint but real. Falcon 1. Hold on. We see you. It was Kirov. I tried to answer, but the engine sputtered, dying.